Good morning, Brave Warrior. You must now be home. I thought I would talk to you for a few minutes today about stripping your JP drains. They also call this milking your JP drains. This was one of the things that I was frankly a little bit more anxious about. I wasn't sure how to do it, but now I've kind of gotten it down as a skill thanks to a nurse who very patiently walked me through it before I left the hospital and who gave me some good tips. So I thought I would share some of those tips with you today. Sorry that my cinematic skills are not going to be great, but I thought this will be good enough that hopefully it will be functional for you. So the first thing is, drain management. I came home at first. They had taken all of my drains and they had pinned them on the inside of my clothes with safety pins, and it was awful. It was like pulling holes in my clothes. It was uncomfortable. It was terrible. So I got this on Amazon. It's a drain belt, and it allows each of my drains to go into an individual pocket. This is my fabulous binder, which I'm sure you also came home with, but it's just got a little belt that clips, and I put the clip in the front, even though it said to put the clip in the back, because it made it easier for me to get it around my body, and then each individual drain could go in its own little pocket. So that's something I frankly would really recommend getting. I think it was about $10 on Amazon. And it means that I can keep my drains on the front, which also makes it easier when I'm trying to sleep, that I know that drains aren't on the side where I'm potentially going to roll over on them. So when you strip your drains, I was told to strip my drains twice a day. So I decided to do it on a schedule of 7 o'clock and 7 o'clock every day, just because it was kind of easier to be in my mind at the beginning of my day and at the end of my day. When you strip your drains, figure the biggest thing you've got to avoid is infection. You don't want to end up creating a situation where you've introduced infection into your surgery site. So you've got to be really careful in this process. So I've been probably a little bit neurotic about it, that I come in and wash my hands with soap and water, and then I use alcohol wipes or Antibac in addition to that, just to make sure that my hands are really clean. Then I go through and I strip one drain at a time. I'll show you what this looks like, even though it's a little bit gross, but I think it might be helpful to you to just see it. Once I strip all of the drains off into jars, then I go back and measure them. Once I've measured them, then I take all of the output and I actually put it in the toilet and flush it down the toilet. Just because it's kind of gross, it's kind of oily. I don't want to put it down my own sink. Then after that, I take the little individual cups and I just rinse them out with water. They told me I didn't need to wash them at all, but I want to rinse them out with water just because I don't want gross stuff sitting on my counter at my house. So one thing though that's important is you cannot actually try to clean the JP drains themselves. You'll often see there's still stuff in the lines, there's still stuff in the bulbs, but you're not supposed to try and like suck water into them or clean them in any way, because once again that could introduce infection into your lines. So if you know that, it's pretty straightforward, pretty easy. You come in every day, you kind of push all of the liquid out of the drains into the bulb. When you do that, it's important to hold the bulb or hold the line up near your body, because you don't want to inadvertently be pulling this out of your body as you do it. If you stripped it too aggressively, you actually could pull it out of your body. You don't want to do that. So kind of hold it up near your body and then use your other hand to strip it to get the liquid down into the bulb. And then once you get the liquid in the bulb, you pull the cap open. One of the things they told me to do that I've stuck to is using an alcohol wipe. Every time I open it, I clean the top of the bulb, and then I clean the top of the little plug that goes in it. Then you take it and pour the liquid into the cups. Once you pour the liquid into the cups, then I measure all four at the same time again. So I'll show you what that looks like. I have already washed my hands with soap and water since I walked into the room, but now I've got other supplies that I'm going to use. I'm going to try and show you. So I got this big packet of wipes from Target, so I can just wipe my hands off, or I can use Antibac after I've washed my hands just to clean my hands again. Then I got sterile alcohol prep pads off of Amazon.com, and I use one alcohol prep pad per bulb that I'm stripping. In part, what you need is liquid to make it easier to strip, just because you need it to slide a little bit, and alcohol is the perfect thing to use because then it's just sanitary and clean, and so that's good in a dozen ways. So let me show you, and then I've got these fabulous little cups. Hold on, let's see if we can see the cups. I've got these cups that everything goes into the cup, and each one is labeled for which drain I'm actually pulling off, so I know consistently which one is in which container when I'm starting to log them. So let's see how this goes. I'll see if I can show you how to strip a drain. We're going to have to hope my friendly, camera is not going to work with me on this. So here's the first drain, and again, this is kind of gross. So, if you're not up for gross, you may not want to watch this. But my hands are already clean. In fact, I'll just do this again, even though I did this before we got on. I usually get a big alcohol pad, and I wipe my hands off again. And don't ask me why I'm still wearing my hospital bracelet. I do not know. It's in part because I've just been too lazy to find somebody to cut it off for me. But I clean my hands really well with the alcohol after I've already washed my hands. Then I get one sterile alcohol prep pad. Again, I bought these in a box from Amazon. It looks like there were 200 pads in the box I got. It was about $5, so really worth it. It makes it easy. I pull out one little pad, and they're tiny. Now, you want to get close up to your body, and you want to hold this because you don't want to be pulling your drain out of your body. But you can see the lines are kind of full of stuff. So you put the pad over it, and this is really, really stretchy. It will pull like crazy. Then I usually kind of follow it down with my finger to kind of keep it from backing up into the tube again and push it down there. So you can see some of it springs right back in. So usually I'll go back up to the top, and I'll actually do it a second time just because I want to get as much out of the line as I can. But you cannot break this stuff. Like, don't feel bad being a little bit forceful with it because it really is very stretchy and resilient. Okay, so once I've done that, you can see that the line is now pretty clear. Now you go to this bulb top, and I use the alcohol wipe itself to open the bulb top. And sometimes there's a lot of pressure under it, so it can be sometimes kind of hard to open. Then I clean the top of the little nozzle with the alcohol prep pad, clean the top of the other side with the alcohol prep pad. Now, this for me, I've got it labeled left abdomen number 2. So I have to then find my little jar for left abdomen 2, and then you dump it off into the jar. And sometimes there are like long protein strings and other things in here that are just kind of junk. So now that I've got most of it out, I'll set the cup back up, and then I take my alcohol prep pad again, wipe off the top again, wipe this off again, and then you have to do what's called charging the JP drains. You squish them. You squish them to get the air out because you want to create negative pressure that helps to suck more back into the drain. So once I've done that, then I push them back down, closed again. So that's how you strip a JP drain. I'll do one more just so you can see it another time. And again, I'm sorry, this is like disgusting, but this is one of my other ones. It's lower, and the other thing is the color starts to change. It moves from red to a more kind of orangey color, then it apparently moves to kind of a straw color. But let's do one more together, just in case that's helpful. So I get another alcohol prep pad and repeat the process. Hold it up here, pull it down, pull it down, pull it down, pull it down. Then I go back up and I do it again just because I want to get it as clean as possible while still holding it so it's not pulling it out of my body. And then clean the little top with the alcohol pad, pop it open. This one's kind of tight. Ooh. So I clean the top off, this one I'll find in the container that it's in and dump it off into the container. Clean the top of the bulb again with the alcohol pad on both sides, squish it to charge it, put the top back in, and then that one's done. So from there, what you've got to do is go back, and we'll just look at this one you've got to go back to this and you've got to measure it. There are milliliters on the side of the container, and so twice a day, every day, you write down how many milliliters you've got. I also started writing down what color they are. They haven't asked me to do that, but it just feels like it feels significant to me somehow that the colors are changing. So you write it down every day, and my understanding is that when you get down to having fewer than 30 milliliters across a 24-hour period for 2 24-hour periods in a row, then you can get your drains pulled. So that's what we're working toward, but hopefully that's helpful, and that's how you can strip a JP drain. Hope you're doing well. You're at least home. Hurrah, you've gotten through this. Have a great day.